Today, I have Tyrel McLane with M6 Wrecker, and I've worked with you a lot, but today was the first time I actually met you.
Absolutely.
You know, we're coordinating car crashes and things like this all the time, but I've never actually met you in person, so very nice to meet you finally.
You as well.
You have a very interesting story about how you got into the wrecker service, and you said you're originally from Bangor.
Yes, sir.
And then, so tell me that. So how did you end up in Kingfisher? And
So we grew up in Bangor until we were 5. So my mom was dating a guy that worked at the electric department in Kingfisher, and that's what kind of got us to Kingfisher. My mom was a nurse, and she worked at the nursing home here, and she works at the Center Family Love now in Okarche. So
okay.
This is where we landed, and have just since taken up from here. And
That's crazy. That, you know, it's funny how life takes you, you know, you deal with it and grow from it. And
absolutely.
So you had worked for is it K&W Tire?
K&S.
K&S Tire for like a long time.
Spent quite a few years at K&S.
Yes.
From the outside, or you know, from the service truck, where most people remember me from in the farm industry. I went from there to outside sales, where I traveled and took care of, you know, Brahms Farms at Tuttle. Done a lot of stuff with them guys. John Christner Truck Lines. Done some stuff with some of their big contracts. Just really any of the trucking companies and outside sales stuff that I could get my hands on in our area. And then I moved an assistant manager there. Was there quite a few years until I was approached to go to work for TerraStar. Kicked that thing off and brought TerraStar to Oklahoma with Brad.
We just heard that story the other day. I think Ivan and I were at an event, and he told us that story.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah, you may have the men's retreat. I believe is what it was at. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it was. We kicked that off here, and the oil field wasn't something that I didn't know much about. My dad grew up on oil rigs. You know, I'd done a little short time before I started at K&S. I roughnecked. We did the 07 on 7 off. It was not my.
That is hard
It was not my calling.
That is hard.
So I didn't last very long in the oil field when it come to that. I couldn't stand the 7 days off. You were sleeping all the time because you were so wore out from the 7 days you were working.
Yeah.
But I got out of that, and I went, like I said, started at K&S, and then everything took off from there. So had some of the history with the way things work, the pits and tanks and stuff that we cleaned with TerraStar and frac tanks. So we did that, and really after I got really moving with TerraStar, they grew quite a bit. I went back and kind of, you know, started having a family and stuff like that when I met my wife, and we decided to kind of take a little bit of a step back, and I started doing water meters in Oklahoma City, Edmond, Yukon, for
the
like big builders.
Installing them, or what?
Installing them, yeah. It was all new construction.
Oh.
So when like Roush Coleman or Habitat for Humanity,
Yes.
LGI, some of those big builders would come in and build all new homes. Well, they may have 100 homes in a whole block of where they had bought, and we would just come in and set all those water meters for the city. We had a city inspector that basically watched us and made sure everything was. They would only give you a limited amount per day that you could do to keep that inspector not tied up.
Okay.
So I did that, and then the wrecker industry was nothing I ever had my hands in. It is something that me and a friend had talked about years and years ago. Some folks may have seen my story in the newspaper. I had gotten a little trouble back in high school, and that kind of stalled us years ago of wanting to try to do a wrecker for the legality side of me operating one and whatnot. Well, we just kind of put that beside us and whatnot. Well, when Justin and Gary Muggenberg retired, I had already had a good acquaintance with some of the troopers and law enforcement, and one of my trooper friends from over by Crescent, he said, "You're crazy not to get into that. This would be a perfect thing for you." And so I went home to my wife, and I told her, I said, "I think I'm gonna buy some wreckers." And she kind of laughed at me because, mind you, we didn't come from a lot of money. We didn't. It was one of them deals. If it was going to happen, I was going to have to go talk to my banker, and he was going to have to make it happen.
Yeah.
So
when he got done laughing, then it was
Well, that's exactly what happened. I walked into the bank one day, and I told my banker, I said, Tim, I said, I think I want to buy some wreckers. And he's like, that's crazy you said that, because all of us in here were just talking about who's going to take over the wrecker service now. And I was like, okay, this is good. This is
okay.
So the whole town had knew, and he said, "Well, get a business plan together and kind of get an idea." And I went in there and told him what I needed. It's the financial side really. I look at it nowadays and I just laugh and I said, Tim, I said I need $120,000. I said that's all I need, and it will get me started. I can buy a couple of old trucks, and so everything went good. They agreed to do it. And I actually hired one of my guys that worked with me at TerraStar that had a CDL and everything. I said, man, this is going to be rough for a little while, but just trust me. Trust me, this is going to be good. Mm-hmm. And he come over to work with me, and we took off. His name was Jace Hodges. And me and Jace are still good friends. And Jace worked with me, and we started out in a couple wreckers that were pretty rough. they were wreckers that I didn't know what I was buying.
You spent more time working on them than you did run them.
Yeah, I bought one out of Nebraska, I think it was. No, it came out of Iowa. A guy used to use it for hauling equipment. Mm-hmm. It was the first and only rollback that was aluminum that I will ever own. I will never own another aluminum bed.
Really? I would have thought that had been the way to go.
You can't weld on them. I know how to fix stuff. I'm not an aluminum welder. So if a weld breaks or anything like that, I could never do nothing with them because I didn't know how to weld aluminum. So they wasn't near as stout. The good thing about them being up there is they didn't rust. That's why a lot of the northern states had them. So we bought this old truck and brought it down, and we didn't even know how to tie a truck down on a bed we drove up there and brought my pickup back on the bed, and the speedometer didn't work on the truck right. We thought, man, we're just flying down the road in this truck, and or we felt like we were going slow. That's what it was. We felt like we were just barely crawling. And come to find out, we turned on our GPS on our phone. We was doing like 95, so we had to kick back. It's just like I said, the speedometer wasn't working like it showed to be.
Yeah.
So we brought that truck back, and we had already filed for our license and stuff. The day that truck hit, we were working. We already had calls. People were like, "Okay, well, we'll just wait on you," you know.
We're waiting for the mailman to get here. Yeah.
Yeah. So we ran that truck for a few weeks. Until I was like, listen, there's no way we can keep up with all the work with one truck. So I went to south of Odessa, like way south of Odessa, and bought another one. It was a 2000 model FL70. And it was a lot bigger truck,
so it was a
steel bed.
It was the first one like a
medium duty.
Like a 450 kind of.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it was a rollback as well, because we knew we could do most of everything with a rollback. And we ran those for the first year pretty ragged. I mean, we wore them old trucks out. They was already wore out when we got them, but we really wore them out. I think we burnt more oil in one of them than we did diesel, but it did everything we needed. It built the business. Yep. So I actually traded the aluminum bed one to Jim Hickey. Had a Dodge that had a blown motor in it.
Yep. And
I traded it and some cash to Jim, and I took it down to Johnson's and I put a new motor in it. We still run that truck to this day.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it was an 18 model Dodge, little 5500, awesome truck. We just thought once we got that truck, we was driving a Cadillac compared to these old trucks. And it's just been uphill from there. We bought a medium duty, bought a couple more rollbacks, we've got 2 semi-wreckers now. Mm-hmm. So opened up another yard in Blaine County. So we have a yard in Watonga as well as Kingfisher.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yep. So we cover all of the south side of Blaine County. There's another wrecker that's in Canton, Reed's wrecker. The junior's good as gold. I mean, the guy's worked his tail off his whole life to make a living doing it. So we're the only wrecker in Blaine County other than him. But basically, he doesn't like to leave town. So he works all that south stuff, no matter, he may work 5 crashes up there. We don't do a rotation deal kind of on that deal. If it's north, troopers have always called him, they call him kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And we cover everything south. So keeps us plenty busy between the 2 counties of running.
So how big of is it mostly just 2 counties that you focus on, or is it?
We go everywhere. Our semi-wreckers we spend a lot of time in Kansas, back and forth. Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, our seasons for that's fixing to come up. We've got a couple of companies we take care of that do fertilizer, and that's big for them. The owners are down here and they trust the local shops. So you get up on the road in a truck and have a breakdown, some of those shops will take advantage of you. So they would rather use us and know what they're going to get charged to go grab a truck and bring it back, because sometimes those shops may gouge them for 3 times of what a tow bill back from Iowa to here would be. So we will take them a good running truck. It's so funny to think of how many good running semis that we tow, but we do. We'll grab them a perfectly good running truck and tow it up to their driver, unhook their broke down truck, and that way their drivers can just keep on going, making loads.
All right. Well, I'm thinking of dragging the whole tractor and trailer down. That would be a waste of time. So
yeah, so we swap those out, and the Highway Patrol has taken over the record division, Troop S size and weight. So pulling a loaded tractor trailer they're really starting to regulate that. So you don't see us pull very many combinations unless it's an emergency type situation. If somebody's broke down on the side of the road and we need to get it cleared off the highway and get back to their yard, or local companies, going close. But if it's across the state, we don't.
Right.
We usually split them just for safety reasons.
Wow, that's crazy. So, how many trucks do you have now?
We've got 7. Yep.
Okay.
7 trucks.
And I know your busy season's coming.
It's
I guess
coming.
As soon as it gets kind of slick and crummy out, or even cold, it starts.
A lot of people say that, and I don't think people realize how much rain affects us, because we've got some of the most state-of-the-art equipment to do mud pulls, and we do a lot of semi pulls when it's muddy outside, and not even just necessarily semis, but all your oil field traffic. Those guys are trying to get into pads and just slide off the road and whatnot. So rainy season, this has been one of the busiest rainy seasons we've ever had. I was telling somebody the other day, we had that stretch where we got a little bit of rain and it broke for a couple days, and we got a pretty substantial amount more. We pulled 43 semis in 1 week, and that's,
oh my God,
that's moving.
I always think of a wreck, but
yeah,
you forget about the
recovery side of things. That's
trucks and cars, and
yeah, we do a lot of that, which comes with the snow and things of nature too. But rain is a big deal for us. There's just nobody around that does much of it. There's a few guys with dozers.
Well, back in the day, dozers were everywhere. So you just call for a dozer to pull something out. But now there's not quite so many laying around. That
there's a couple guys here that still run dozers, and there's a lot of times we're so booked up that I'm calling them to go pull trucks for us. But it's one of them deals. Like I said, rain is a busy thing for us too.
Huh. Okay. And you were talking that although you do a typical car breakdown and things like that, you don't do AAA. You do work with some of the insurance companies and things like that. Yeah.
So a lot of times, Chevy dealerships will have their own insurance for that brand of car, or Ford that offers a roadside assistance type deal. So a lot of those guys we work with, because they're not trying to just nitpick on what you do. They just want to find somebody to get their customer to the dealership. Chrysler's the same way. Chrysler has their own roadside assistance on cars that are still under warranty and that type of stuff. So we do quite a bit of that as well, as far as getting people. Right. Because, most people that break down say, oh, I got roadside assistance, I'm going to call this number. Well, then they will call us. Well, I'm standing right here, so go ahead and do that. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get it done. Oh, that's funny. And so, your family owns other businesses in Kingfisher. Yes. Your twin brother does concrete work and construction. Concrete and construction. Yep. Right. So he does all forms of concrete. I think he just poured a big deal for the city. Actually, the big pavilion right here behind our building. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. He done that. He does some of the storm drains in Kingfisher, does that kind of stuff. He just done a big city project for Kingfisher as well, a big drainage ditch that was just washing out and stuff. But he does a lot of Oklahoma City stuff. His guys they're down south pouring a big disposal well right now. So shop buildings. He does a lot of shop pads, house pads, just your general sidewalks, just really anything concrete related.
Right.
They do it. He's got framing crews. They've built a few houses. He would rather stay with doing concrete, but you know,
you take what you can get
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
Sure,
He's got the guys to do just about anything that a general contractor could possibly need.
Very cool. So we were talking before we started about there's this YouTube channel. What's it called? Pepe's Towing,
Yep.
and he has these big fancy chrome rotator wreckers and everything. So do you long to have something like that, or is that just so ridiculous you could never recover your?
You know, those
investment?
trucks, a lot of people look at them and think, man, that would be neat to have. And of course, that's one of them things that we've always would want. I always tell everybody I will own one. It's probably not the most smartest financial decision in the position that I'm in. I mean, I'm 4 years into the business, so
You're young and
I'm young.
You're working it.
Being smart about it. You know, it's I'll put my money where it makes me money every day, not something that I'm going to use once or twice a month at the most. But those trucks, you know, those trucks are $1 million for a new one.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big chunk to bite off. So we will have one day.
They're going to interrupt us. A what on fire?
Building on fire
No.
behind a house.
Hey, Cam? Amy? Did you get the address? Let me go look. I usually get a text for Hennessy. No, I got it. It's here.
It was off 630 roads, what they said.
Dispatch Hennessy Fire, can you respond to 11778 East 630 Road? Again, 11778 East 630 Road for a building on fire behind the house.
Okay, I need you to go there.
11778.
Yes.
That's Randy Holder's or Tom's house.
Really?
Pretty positive.
Terrific. You're gonna have to use your phone because all the cameras are tied up.
Mine's in the office.
Grab Ivan's in case you need it.
Yeah, it's Tom Holder's house.
Terrific. Ooh. Are you still rolling? All right, I'm gonna close this door. We can still hear Hennessy.
They didn't encrypt him.
They didn't encrypt Hennessy. Yeah, I'm like personal friends with Brandon.
Well,
I says,
and so-
you can't do that to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I help them out enough that I guess it's a value. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not just all about news for them. I do everything I can to help them in any way.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So we're talking about owning a rotator.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's definitely one of them things I will have one of these days. I think it would be very beneficial to an extent, but as far as semi crashes and stuff, we won't. Watonga, we work quite a few over there. Just a lot more traffic in and out of the quarry and stuff like that. So it'll be one of them deals we will have one day.
And your terrain is a little different than a lot of the guys that have them. I mean, you're on flat ground most of the time. You're not retrieving from 50-foot cliffs and
Yep.
things like that.
I have wanted to venture off to another county, and if I do that, I will buy one when I go to that county, just because it's a lot of interstate. Those rotators are really nice. You know, we're on a 2-lane highway to where you're going to have to shut down the road regardless. Rotators are really nice on the interstate to where you can work off of 1 lane and a shoulder and upright something and then tow it out of there. Versus, you know, a straight truck. I can tell you this, Brian Albrecht with Cabins out of El Reno. He doesn't own a rotator, and he will probably never own a rotator because Brian will always say, there's nothing you can do with a rotator that I can't do with a stick boom. And I think he's proved that time and time again that they've never had anything that they couldn't do with a straight truck that these guys use a rotator
knowing how
for.
to use your tools and
Absolutely.
Wow.
So that's one thing that's kind of held me back. I'm like, you know what? He's done it this long, and he's one of the best in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
The rotators are for show. That's really what they're for. When you can buy a straight boom truck and run that truck every day, hauling trucks anywhere you need to go, versus a rotator that's basically crash oriented, there's no reason to.
Wow.
When you can buy two straight
Two
trucks,
for ones.
yeah.
So do any of yours, are they the where you can take the body off it? Because I know that's kind of a thing,
detach.
a detach.
No, I don't have any
Yours
detach
is-
wreckers right now. I will. That's my next project is a detach. Just they're just so convenient because you can have the bed off of it in 15, 20 minutes and put a trailer on it or whatever else you may need for recovery efforts, whether that's a landall or even need to just hook a semi trailer up to split a rig for somebody.
Very, very cool. My wife's sister lives in Marysville, Kansas, where they build landall.
Oh, okay.
And they're like everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a neat town to go because they own half the town.
Oh, I guarantee you they
And
have
see
to
all
have
of
just
these really cool chrome trailers lined up.
yeah, because they do farm equipment as well.
They do, yeah.
So
So it's 50-50. It's heavy ag
Yeah.
with plows and discs and things like that. And then the other half is
Industrial
heavy
carrier
industrial
stuff.
trailers and
That's interesting.
landalls that are, I didn't realize they were as popular in your line of work. So,
yeah, landalls are very popular in our line of work just because the trailer, they make a certain trailer that's basically just like a huge rollback.
Yep.
And they use them quite a bit. Burned up trucks and stuff like that, they come in
Just
real handy for.
Suck them right up on
Yep.
there. And a landall is a very low to the ground trailer to begin with, but then it tilts
Yep.
and almost gets flush with the ground and you can pull objects up on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is once you load something, you're not so tall
Yeah.
that you can haul them. So.
Very cool. What did we forget? How do people reach you?
Well, they can. We do have a little Facebook,
Okay.
Facebook and Google. We're pretty easy to find. We got a pretty stout Facebook following.
Yep.
Just right here in Kingfisher and Watonga. So
Yep.
we.
And watch all of our pages. And
Yep, all of your pages.
there's
You
good
guys share quite a
advertising
bit
with
about us.
and,
So
yeah, very, very cool. Well, and I know you do a lot for the community. You know, you're not just the wrecker guy, but
yeah,
anytime
we try.
anyone needs some help, and I've seen your equipment on non-accident related stuff like search and rescue and those kind of things. And
Yeah, there's a lot. When I grew up, I lived on the creeks. And that was kind of one of them deals is unfortunately, like you said, on the search and rescue side of things, there's been some very unfortunate events that have happened in our community. Even before you guys were here, there's been a few younger kids that have drowned in our parks department's area. And we were actually part of that recovery as well on multiple. But yeah, anywhere we can try to help, we try to be there and help. So
that's awesome. That's very,
and
very cool.
I know our sheriff's department and stuff has some new equipment and things that they've purchased to try to help with search and rescue as well. But I'm in the process of buying a thermal drone as well, just to have for
Nice.
those efforts if a deputy's not around and things of that nature.
Yep.
So
Wow. Very cool. Well, it's so cool meeting you
Yep.
finally in
You as well.
person and hanging out with us. And I know you're a busy guy and your phone is probably blown up.
I've got it rolled.
He's
so
going
them
to
guys
run
can-
right out of here as soon as we're done. But very cool.
Yep, it
All
was
right.
good meeting you too.
Same here. Thank you. Stay tuned.